welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And that's it. This is it, Jerry. The finale of the Carolina Panthers season, just a few days away. We're here to preview Week 18. Carolina Panthers heading down to New Orleans, finish the season off. We were hoping that there might be another week or two waiting for us, but after that performance last week in Tampa, especially the fourth quarter, didn't quite get there.
Nope. And I'm sure New Orleans fans were hoping the same thing because this would be...
This would be a much more important game for them.
Yeah. Unfortunately, both teams are going to be going home after this game. Taking vacations, so... It'll be interesting which team kind of comes out more this game because, I know Shaq Thompson and a lot of defensive players have come out saying that they want to, Steve Wilkes to get the job.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a feeling the Panthers will probably come out firing.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to New Orleans beat writers and stuff like that. I don't know how their players are rallying around Dennis Allen or not, but they've been on a winning streak. So it'll be interesting how they come out.
They won 3 in a row. So they haven't given up. That much we know. It sounds like Dennis Allen is going to be back next year. He and Todd Bowles, I guess, are going to be back. So I think that's good for the Panthers because I don't think either one of those guys are very good. But Steve Wilkes definitely has something left to fight for.
Yeah.
If he loses this one and he'd be like 5-7.
5-7.
As the head coach, was still is much better than what Rule was. Definitely an improvement.
He won 5 games in a lot less games than Matt Rule does. Rule takes a whole year.
Right. But I could see Tepper looking at that and saying, it's not good enough. Right.
Oh, I definitely can do it. And with rumors abound, I mean, in our news, we were going to discuss the Harbaugh, being discussed.
Yeah.
Tepper and Harbaugh already have a discussion about the coaching vacancy.
Yeah. And before we get there real quick, let's just mention real fast.
Sorry.
Damar Hamlin.
Oh,
right?
Yes.
Obviously, the entire NFL world knows what happened.
That was
got
horrible.
Injured. Died on the field, essentially, on Monday night. And that was really tough to watch. Tough to watch.
Last I saw, he was in critical condition still.
He died on the field. They resuscitated him.
Oh, okay. Well,
he's still alive. Sorry, I didn't finish that thought. He died on the field. Yeah, that's important information.
I don't mean to laugh. I was just like freaking out there. I was like, do I need to check Twitter real quick? I didn't know.
No, you're right. So he's in critical condition. Does seem to be improving based on last thing I heard. So, I mean, God willing, he's going to be okay. But thoughts and prayers go out to him, his family, everybody out there. All the teams. It really shook the entire sports world.
It was so horrific seeing that. Because I was loosely paying attention and I didn't see what happened until a while after I saw a replay, and I just felt awful because that was my first thought, was something heart related, cardiac, and
I mean, and don't go out and watch it if you haven't seen it. It's not graphic or anything, but it's just very, when you know what's going on with him, it's very tough to watch. So we're not gonna spend too much time on it. Just hope that he makes a full recovery, and who gives a crap if he ever plays football again. I'm sure he does, but just want him to be okay, right?
Yeah.
That's all we really care about. So definitely wanted to talk about that just for a quick minute. But back to the Panthers here. Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh.
John is the Baltimore's.
John is the Baltimore coach. Okay, Jim Harbaugh.
It's hard to remember.
Well, come on, Harbaugh parents. A little more variety in the names there. They've had unofficial conversations, I guess, he and David Tepper. Don't know what those conversations were. Could have been as simple as, hey, are you interested in coming back to the NFL? If so,
Mm-hmm.
we could interview you. If not, then we're not going to waste our time. Could have been something as simple as that.
It could have also been, hey, what would interest you in a head coaching job in the future?
Yeah.
If you saw this Panther organization, is it more friendly to a head coach than, say, Denver? Or, just it could have been something simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it could be more like in the lines of, so how you feel about the NFL?
Yeah. What would it take to pull you away from Michigan? That type of thing. We know that Tepper's got, the deepest pockets in the NFL, or if not the deepest, right there, the next deepest. But Denver, Indianapolis also going to be looking for head coaches, but probably Indianapolis, I should say. I can't imagine that Irsay can bring Jeff Saturday back after this debacle, but who knows? Jim Harbaugh is an interesting name, though, and not a guy as of a couple of weeks ago that I was really considering as, a potential head coach for the Panthers. I like Steve Wilkes.
I do too.
Jim Harbaugh would be a better choice, in my opinion. In my opinion, everyone, he's got a more extensive head coaching resume in the NFL and in college. He's got an incredible winning percentage in both college and the NFL. He wins wherever he goes. Now he hasn't gotten to that ultimate prize yet, but he's a good football coach. There are some negatives, which, I'm sure you can expound on a little bit, Jerry. I think you're more plugged in on that side of it than I am, but I like Jim Harbaugh, and I think it would be interesting to see what he could do here.
I would love Jim Harbaugh. If anybody says, oh, he's a college coach, no, he's not. He's a former NFL Coach of the Year, former Super Bowl contender. Coach. I guess they did lose, but yeah, honestly, that would be a absolute win. Now, I want to preface it that he did come out and say, I'll be coaching Michigan next season amid reports. Take that with a grain of salt. You know how
massive grain of salt. Yeah.
Because you never know how the coaches are going to do. But I do have to say that before someone shoots us an email or YouTube and says,
Sure.
He's not coming. Well, this is all speculation. Yeah.
Go back and it just, especially college coaches, just go back and look at all the times the college coaches, I'll be right back here next year. We're building something here. And then days later, they're gone.
LSU
every single year.
LSU with Nick Saban. That's what he said. He goes, I'm not interested in the NFL. And then a week later, he was named head coach of the Miami Dolphins.
It's all about their ego, saving face. If he happened not to get the job, I was always coming back here. It would have had to have been a Godfather offer type deal. I mean, they always say that.
Yeah, exactly. Because no one wants to get pie in their face if they
right.
Because then Michigan's always going to be weary of signing him to a big deal again, which he just signed a big deal.
He's out recruiting. What else is he going to say? Give me a break. But I think it's a realistic possibility that he is in the NFL next year.
Now, I do want to talk about some of the negatives because you brought them up.
Sure.
Now, one thing Jim Harbaugh is known for is not staying in a place long. It's usually about 5-6 years and he's gone. Even with his winning, San Diego, Stanford, San Francisco, and now Michigan. The good thing, though, is he leaves each franchise or college better than he left it. San Francisco, he took him to the Super Bowl. He had Colin Kaepernick there when Colin Kaepernick was looking like a stud.
Yep.
And then when he left, he didn't look like a stud, but to each his own. So, and another thing is he rubs people the wrong way. Internally, he is very feisty with other people. He doesn't get along well with others. But I am willing to deal with that, especially considering our franchise. If we get 5 years of Jim Harbaugh here fixing our organization to be in a better situation, love it.
The only caveat, the only thing that would, because none of that makes me wary at all.
Oh, right?
No. Bring him in. If he's going to be here for 5 years, bring him in. I don't care. The only thing that makes me a little hesitant is that I think he's going to want full control over the roster, over personnel. And where does that put Scott Fitterer?
Yeah,
because I think Scott Fitterer has done a good job. I don't like coaches that do it all. It rarely works. I know in San Francisco, that was one of the big reasons why he left, was that he and the front office just were not getting along at all, had different visions for the team. So I would be curious to see how that would work out. But other than that, I'm full bore. Like, let's go. I'm bring him in. You know?
Yeah, I didn't even think about it that way. It'll be interesting.
No.
I mean, heck, we had a college coach running the crew couple years there,
which didn't work out too well.
And then Fitter, from our thoughts and the way the team was built from last year, completely different from previous years of Matt Rule. We do feel like Matt Rule lost a lot of team building, was pulled out from under him. I can't.
Well, just based on the things that players are saying now.
Yeah,
it kind of gives you a very clear idea of how Matt Rule was thought of as head coach, and it wasn't very highly. Steve Wilkes is thought of very highly.
Yeah,
among
absolutely.
The players, and we've been hearing all week how everybody's going to bat for him. All the players want him to stick around. They want him to be the head coach, and that has to weigh something for David Tepper, I would think, right?
I would assume so, especially the way that they were playing for Matt Rule, and then when a couple weeks after Wilkes took over, kind of really implemented his staff and implemented his philosophy, we could tell a difference from the way the team played. So, yeah. I mean, I have to believe Tepper's there and he has a better finger on the pulse, but visually, you could tell a difference.
You can, and culturally, it felt like, right? It just felt different. It just felt like the old Panthers. It didn't feel like whatever Matt Rule was trying to build. It felt like the old Panthers.
It felt at least hungry.
Yeah.
Something that the Rule Panthers never did.
Yeah. And I love Steve Wilkes. And if he ends up being our head coach, I will be happy and excited about that and hopeful for that. It's just, I feel like a guy like Jim Harbaugh specifically, they don't come around very often.
No.
Guys with that pedigree and that level of success, and still, he's still in his 50s. Like, he's not super old. So I think if you had the opportunity, you would at least have to explore it heavily.
I 100% sure David Tepper's going to explore it, because David Tepper's also known for splashes. He likes making splashy things.
Right.
So I could easily see him doing that as well.
Yeah, I mean, he made the biggest splash when he hired Rule.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave him that massive contract. Like, he had to do that to get and Matt Rule was the big name that year. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'll be interested. I'll be happy with Steve Wilkes gets the job. My biggest fear, though, is Ben McAdoo will still be offensive coordinator, because he's done okay. He's done okay since Rule has been fired, but okay doesn't cut it in the NFL, in my opinion.
And we're going to probably have a young quarterback in here. And is Ben McAdoo the guy that you want grooming that young quarterback, bringing him along? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know enough about Ben McAdoo and young quarterbacks. I know that Sam Darnold has looked Sam Darnold has looked better under Ben McAdoo than he did last year. Baker Mayfield looked terrible under Ben McAdoo.
Just terrible.
Terrible. So I don't know. I think if I play it safe, get rid of him and bring in the next hot guy. But speaking of real quick, Jerry, of bringing in a young quarterback, let's talk about the draft real quick, because it seems like that's where we are now. I mean, that is where we are.
Yeah, I mean, this preview, anybody really looking for a preview, it's going to be very short and be like, does it matter? No. We want us to lose, kind of, to get better draft pick at this point. We wanted to win all up until this week. We waited till the last week, and now we are worried about draft picks.
Now, I mean, that's all that you should care about at this point, because I feel like Wilkes, it doesn't matter if they win or lose. He's going to get the job or he's not, right? I don't think it hinges on this game.
No, I think if it hinged on a game, it was last week.
Right. We're not going to sign any good players by winning this game, right?
No.
But we I don't think we're gonna fall. I think ninth in the draft order is about as far as we can go. There are several 7 and 9 teams behind us, including New Orleans, but it goes off strength of schedule, and the Panthers have a pretty comfortable lead in the bad strength of schedule compared to everybody behind them. So I think ninth is as low as we can go. I think we can go as high as sixth. So if we lose, so that's kind of what we're looking at, is try to move up a couple of spots in the draft. If they decide to trade up, that just helps your leverage a little bit. You give up less future picks. So yeah, it's that's kind of that's where I am, at least. I'm hoping that we lose this game. I don't want to get embarrassed, but I hope that we lose this game. And if we win, then I hope we blow the crap out of them and just make them, send them home sad. But I do hope that we finish 6-11.
I do too. At this point, I want a better draft pick. I want at least have more draft capital. Granted, if we could get to 6, that'd be awesome. Otherwise, like 9 is not that big of a deal. But those 3 picks can help you. In trying to trade up for a CJ Stroud, or who knows, maybe they like Hendon Hooker at the bottom of the first or beginning of the second. They drop back a couple times, gain more picks to help surround him and build up the team.
Yeah, I mean, Levis is out there as well. He's a guy that
I don't want Levis, but we'll discuss that later on.
Late first, could go in the early second, or could go in the later second. Last year, remember, guys, everybody said the crown jewel was Malik Willis, and he looks awful.
Very true.
Looks terrible.
Well, crown jewel is a little... I wouldn't put anybody got the crown jewel last year, as Kenny Pickett was the only first-round quarterback.
Yeah, crown jewel. I was reading a couple of articles today from various Panthers fan sites and like Sports Illustrated, talking about last year's draft and how if they did not come away with Malik Willis, that it was a failure of a draft. That Malik Willis was the guy that you had to get, even if you took him at 6. Can you imagine if we took Malik Willis at 6 now?
The guy is so raw. He was so raw. The problem was he needs a lot of work.
He needs a ton of work. And maybe his career's not over, right? I mean, who knows? But
it's first year.
What we've seen has not been encouraging. Of course, we still have Matt Corral, so he's going to factor in somehow next season. Wouldn't be surprised if Sam Darnold's on the roster next season, but it feels like the Panthers should go QB in the first round, right?
Yeah. Obviously, quarterback is the no-brainer. I don't want them to go rehash some other quarterbacks. I like Derek Carr. I think he would be by far the best quarterback this Panthers team has had since a healthy Cam Newton, bar none. But I don't want a Derek Carr. I don't want another guy retread like that. That's,
Yeah. Plus, it's going to cost. I mean, this is kind of how you win when you're a team like the Panthers. Is you get lucky on a rookie QB, you surround him with talent, and within those first 5 years, you try to win a Super Bowl, right? We've seen it over and over and over again.
Correct.
So that would be ideal. We'll see. I mean, still a lot of time left before the draft, but we're hoping that the Panthers end up with a little better pick after this weekend. All right, Jerry. You want to look at some PFF grades from last week?
Not really. I mean, that was an ugly game.
There's a few interesting ones to talk about.
All right, let's knock this out pretty quick. Yeah. Top 5 in offense. We're going to go Giovanni Ricci at 94.5. He only had 4 plays, and he had that long catch, so that doesn't surprise me. DJ Moore, number 2, 77.3. Shai Smith, 72.2. Cam Irving, but only 4 snaps, 71.3. And Austin Corbett. And I'm going to go ahead and throw in Icky is number 6 here, just because he had a good game, and I want to give him credit for a couple of guys who had 4 snaps above him.
Yeah, I mean, Icky sometimes ends up in the bottom 5, especially over the last few weeks. So definitely want to call him out when he has a good game.
Now, bottom 5, I got to do my math real quick, is starting with Sam Darnold, 55.7. Ian Thomas, 54.3. Bradley Bozeman, 52.9. Steven Sullivan, 51.5. And Terrace Marshall Jr. 47.3. Try to give him a bonus there, slipping up.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see Ian Thomas holding up his end of the
Tradition.
bargain by being in the bottom 5.
Well, Steven
Sam
Sullivan's
Darnold,
too.
even though Sam Darnold had 50 yards and 3 touchdowns, he still didn't. I didn't think he had a very good game. I know he had a couple of fumbles that were credited to him, even though, questionable whether they were his fault. Yeah, I didn't think he had a great
The
game.
first quarter, he looked really sharp, and then it just kind of slowly started go down. And the interception and 2 fumbles really puts it on that number as well, I'm assuming.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's look at defense. Number 1 is going to be Henry Anderson with 18 snaps. He had a 77. And I thought he looked good. He had a couple of nice plays.
Yeah, he did. And honestly, he's been a nice little surprise here. Mm-hmm. Granted, he probably won't be back, but a nice little tool guy that can get some reps in the NFL.
Yeah, he's been hurt a lot this year. So we definitely didn't get our money's worth, but he's been okay when he's been out there. Corey Littleton, number 2, 76.8. Shaq Thompson, number 3, 74. Good to see him back in the top 5. Sam Franklin, only 13 snaps, 69.3. And then Marquise Haynes at 68.5 on 26 snaps. Looking at the bottom 5 here, starting off with Brian Burns, 55.3 at a 43.7 run defense grade, which that's his knock, right? Not great in the run defense.
It is his knock.
He's a pass rusher, though. He's got 12.5 sacks. Let's give him a break. Yetur next with a 54.9. So both our defensive ends, not great. Frankie Louvu with a 53.3. 13 tackles, career high. I thought he played a pretty good game. They're saying that he was bad in coverage. The whole team was bad in coverage.
Yeah, and he had 40 snaps in coverage. So
yeah,
which we weren't getting pressure on Tom Brady. So why are you getting our second best pass rusher dropping back that much?
Could be some sort of game plan issue here, Jerry.
I'm just bringing it. I'm just pointing out a fact. He had 79 snaps, 40 were in coverage. He's your second best pass rusher. How many times did he pass rush? Only 14.
14 times. Not great. Keith Taylor and CJ Henderson bring up the rear as expected. 46.6 for Taylor, 36.6 for CJ Henderson. All-time bad game for CJ Henderson, I think. That might be the worst game I've seen him play as a Panther.
Yeah, he
gave saying something because he's had some bad games.
He was targeted 11 times, 9 receptions, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's what he gave up.
That's a bad day.
That's a real bad day.
That's a bad day. All right. You all right?
Yeah, I'm just okay. I don't want to keep looking at that secondary. God, that was ugly.
Ugly. Okay, well, let's move on. We're done with that game. We're not really gonna take a break here, but everybody check out our YouTube. Go subscribe. We're doing some good things over there. Getting some good feedback. It's always fun to engage in conversation with you guys in the comments. So check us out there. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartMusic, all those areas for the audio version of the show. Give us some reviews. We'd appreciate it. It's been a while since we've had a written review. We've had some, ratings, but written reviews are always nice and they help us get bumped up in the rankings. So check us out over there if you could. All right. Trivia, Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of trivia for this Panthers game here. I have 2 pieces of trivia for you. We're going to start off with the first.
Okay.
Since 2015, what do you think the Panthers' record is in season finale games? Since that Super Bowl season, not including that season.
I'd say we've won 1.
We've won 1. Good job. We're like 1-5, 1-6. We played the Saints, I think, 4 times in that span. They were our only win. We beat them. But yeah, we've only won one season finale since 2015. That is
God.
that,
Honestly,
that's
since 2017, this team has been pretty
yeah,
tragically bad. Let's be honest.
tragically bad. Tragically bad. All right, one more for you. Johnny Hecker needs one punt inside the 20 to break a tie with this Panthers legend for the franchise record
Todd
of punts
Sauerbrunn.
inside the 20. That is correct.
The only
Todd
other
Sauerbrunn.
punter that I know of that's like name worthy.
And he got that record in 2001.
Yeah,
Jerry.
yeah,
Does it feel
that's
like that long ago?
yes, it
22
does.
years ago. 22 years ago.
If you don't know the story of Todd Sauerbrunn, if you're on the younger side, you should look him up. He was a jacked punter that got busted for steroids on our team.
Mm.
The best time was when he would kick the ball off and they would break it, and he would be there and he would lay out guys. He would work out with the linebackers. It was hilarious. Obviously, he was on steroids, but
Yes. he loved to hit people.
Yeah.
He was a linebacker in a punter's body. Yeah, worth a YouTube deep dive.
yeah, many unnecessary roughness penalties on him for hits.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Panthers are we're 2.5 point underdogs in this game, is that right?
3.5.
3.5 point underdogs in this game. Over under set at 41.5. Don't know what to do with that, honestly. This is a game I would not bet.
No, I
have
don't.
no idea what to expect.
If anybody's betting on this game,
You have a problem.
yeah, you might have a problem because I don't think either team knows, either fan base really knows what's going to happen this type of game because both teams have just been eliminated from the playoffs. Both teams have somewhat question marks at head coaching. I know you said Dennis Allen seems safe, but you never know.
Right.
Quarterbacks, I don't know if they're going to be back next year. So next week's vacation for them. So you never know.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of guys that are looking at flights and hotel reservations and just kind of ready to shut it down for the season. So that'll be interesting to watch, honestly. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how the Panthers come out. And like you said, if are they out there playing for Steve Wilkes' job? I think they will be. I think they're going to come out really hard.
I foresee them coming out, trying to run through a wall, which doesn't go well for me and you wanting to lose this game.
No, but, honestly, we can't really drop in the draft rankings, so we're still going to have a top 10 pick pretty much regardless. So if we do happen to win this game, I'm not going to be heartbroken over it. I'm not going to be super upset.
Going from 8 to 9, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get a little higher up, but I think it would give us more options. But I'm not going to be sitting there actively rooting against the Panthers. That's what I say. That's what I'm saying. Right.
So instead of doing keys to a Panther victory this week, I'm springing this on you now. Let's kind of let's talk about some of the things that we want to look forward to in this game, or kind of keep an eye on. Because I was thinking about this. Neither one of us really want us to win this game, but at the same time, there's some key factors in here that would be fun. Like Deontay Foreman needs 154 yards to get to 1,000 yards. I would like to see him do that, especially considering he didn't play. Yes, he played 16 games, but he did not really start playing until McCaffrey was traded.
Right.
Week 6 or 7?
He was getting 2 to 3 snaps a game.
I think he had
those games.
Yeah, he had 14 carries before McCaffrey was gone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. DJ Moore needs 122 receiving yards to hit 1,000.
Yeah.
Which will be his fourth year in a row. I think that's an interesting one to watch there because the passing defense on the Saints is really good. They're only third in the league. So that's going to be an interesting matchup to watch because I think they're going to want to get DJ those yards.
And he rightfully, in my opinion, deserves it.
Yeah. Yeah. He's had a tough season.
Moving on, Brian Burns, he has 12.5 sacks. He needs 3 sacks to break the franchise record.
Yep.
I don't know. That's a lot in one
That's
game.
a
It
lot.
could happen, but you know,
It's a lot, but the Saints are only about average in sacks allowed. They're tied for 14th in the league, so doable.
it's doable.
You
At
know,
least
we've
he
seen
got his
Burns catch fire before and get multiple sacks in one game, so it's doable.
2.5 to tie. I could easily see that. I'm not easily.
Yeah,
It's a tough
I can
situation to
easily
get.
see that, but three, no,
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 but I could see it happening. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Uh, Shaq Thompson's currently at 128 tackles, at 8 tackles for loss.
Mm-hmm.
He always seems to lead the team since Kuechly has left. Frankie Louvu, 17 tackles for loss and 7 sacks.
Yeah.
Maybe keep an eye on that.
That's one thing real quick. Burns and Luvu both have 17 tackles for loss. The franchise record is 20, set by Luke
Oh,
Kuechly.
that's a very good.
So yeah, so either of those guys could either tie or break that record.
Yeah. Stat wise, I don't know what else there is
Oh, here's
besides
one.
the. Okay.
Here's one, buddy. Eddie Pinheiro. He's got 32 made field goals on the season. Franchise record is 37. Now, asking him to get 5 is a lot, but not impossible.
No,
So
no.
that's another. Lots of statistical milestones and franchise records could fall in this game.
Good. But if a lot of them are occurring, I don't see Pinheiro kicking 5 field goals with DJ Moore getting 122 yards and Deontay Foreman getting 150 something yards.
Yeah, I think the Eddie P one is probably the least likely of these. Maybe Eddie P and Brian Burns getting 3 sacks. Maybe those are,
Yeah.
those are equally.
It-
Actually, I would say Eddie P's way way less likely than Brian Burns.
Maybe New Orleans tackle is like, you know what, guys? I'm going to Hawaii in 28 hours.
Right. Oh, cramp. Oh man, yeah. Yeah, I mean, but honestly, just this is the last time we're gonna watch the Panthers until what, August of next year for preseason.
Mm-hmm.
So just soak it in. This is the last time we're gonna see a lot of these guys on the roster. I think there's gonna be some surprise cuts this offseason that we're not expecting.
Yeah, I mean, we're currently sitting at something 30 million over the cap or something.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got to make some maneuvers because they don't have a quarterback. Even if we draft a quarterback first round, I personally think they need a veteran in here with Matt Corral and the rookie.
Do you think it's more likely that veteran is Sam Darnold, or more likely that it's anybody else?
That is not a fair. It's so difficult. Okay, if Steve Wilkes is here, I say Sam Darnold gets it. Sam Darnold's re-signed.
Really? Do you think Sam Darnold is his guy?
I don't think he's his guy, but familiarity. I think that he would go with familiarity. Now, depending on who the new head coach is, I could easily see them bringing in any veteran.
I could honestly maybe see a different head coach being more likely to bring Sam Darnold back than Wilkes. Because I think Wilkes has seen what Sam can do. Wilkes doesn't need the familiarity. Like, Wilkes is the familiarity. I think he wants to come in, get his own guy, start fresh. But I could see a new coach coming in and just signing Sam on the side, like you said, as a bridge guy or a backup guy, and because he is familiar with the team and can help the new coach kind of figure out, play styles, things like that.
Where the restroom is.
Yeah, right.
Wasn't there an issue where a new guy came in to like that week and he didn't know where the restroom was? Like he had to stop like somebody and ask him. I forget what it was, who it was.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I don't remember that story, but surely it has happened. Yeah, I mean that's kind of it. It's just let's watch this team, see how they come out for this last week, see how hard they play for Wilkes. Is Jameis? I guess Jameis is starting for the Saints. I don't even know.
No, I think
it's Andy Dalton. I guess.
I think it's still Dalton playing.
Yeah. Is Jameis even healthy?
I don't think so. I think he was on season-ending IR. I got Dalton. The
Okay.
thing that scares me about the Saints is Olave going
Mm-hmm.
against C.J. Henderson or Keith Taylor. After what Mike Evans did to
Mm-hmm.
them, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mike Evans is a great receiver, but he doesn't have the speed that Chris Olave has, and they were getting burned.
Yeah. I would expect to see a lot of Taysom Hill in this game too. This is their last game. I bet he has some milestones he'd like to hit for contract purposes.
Yeah,
So I could see a lot of gadget plays with Taysom Hill in this game. I think he had 14 carries last week. That's a lot.
it's a lot.
That's a lot. But I could see him kind of getting a lot of work like that again this week.
Yeah, I wish I
Maybe.
knew more of the escalators because that is something to watch. Whether it's a sack by Brian Burns at 14 sacks
Mm-hmm.
gives him an escalator, or Derek Brown gets a sack, or Kamara gets so many yards or something.
Yeah. Somebody should compile those.
I'm sure the crew will do it because I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's so weird them talking about explicitly talking about money.
yeah.
It doesn't happen that often, but I'd like to see a list. That would be really interesting to see what these guys are playing for. So
And it's kind of fun to watch them go for it because sometimes you'll
Yeah.
see it on the sidelines when they finally hit that escalator.
Right.
Everybody will start clapping and high fiving them.
Yeah. You're like, why is that quarterback thrown to that tight end over and over and over and over again? Why does even Thomas have 19 targets in this game?
He got a $100,000 bonus, and
Yeah.
they wanted him to get it.
Yep. All right. Well, any other thoughts here, Jerry?
No. I'm sad to see the season go. I'm glad we got to be really into it till last week. It was fun for the last leg, considering how the season started. So it was fun.
Yeah, it was real fun. It was exciting to watch, and heartbreaking when we lost. I love that feeling. I don't love being heartbroken, but I love caring enough to where I feel that passion. Right.
That really excited, jittery kind of super stoked for the beginning of the game.
Yeah. Like it's Tuesday and I'm like, Jesus, I can't wait till Sunday. Cannot wait until Sunday. Instead of, I got to do the podcast tomorrow. That kind of thing. I don't even want to talk about this team. That's the way I felt the last couple of years. It was a nice feeling.
It was nice this year. At least we had some entertainment and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
I think it's going to do it.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to do any beer bets or game predictions as it's too questionable.
Yeah.
So at the end, we want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on the show. Please like and subscribe on YouTube.
We'll be back on Sunday afternoon to discuss this game and kind of put a bow on the season. And then I guess maybe sometime next week or the week after, we'll do kind of a wrap up.
Season review. Yeah.
We'll be back. Until then, everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.